Exclusive. What happened after Leonor and Christian said, "I do," royal shock. In a moment that was meant to end with smiles, a sudden shift in emotion stunned the entire royal hall. What happened after Princess Leonor and Prince Christian said, "I do," has left royal watchers in disbelief. The cameras were focused, the eyes of millions glued to the screens, and the world held its breath as Princess Leonor of Spain and Prince Christian of Denmark completed their wedding vows in a ceremony that was both regal and deeply emotional. But what occurred after that sacred exchange of "I do" was something even palace officials were not fully prepared for. The air inside the grand cathedral changed. A subtle pause. Then Leonor, her voice steady yet her eyes glistening, reached for Christian's hand, her grip firmer than expected. She whispered something inaudible to him, and the future Danish king nodded gently. The soft murmur from the pews began to grow as the princess turned toward the crowd, her face visibly emotional. A single tear traced her cheek. Not one of sorrow, but of overwhelming release. For many, this marked a rare moment when the veil of royalty lifted to reveal the very real, very human young woman underneath. It was clear to everyone present, the fairy tale had taken a breathtakingly real turn. And it all started the second the vows were exchanged. Moments after the kiss, just as the royal couple stepped away from the altar, the silence of tradition gave way to something unplanned. A small flower girl broke into a cheer, prompting laughter from guests. Prince Felipe and Queen Letizia shared a knowing glance. This wedding was no longer about duty alone. It had transformed into a new symbol of generational change in Spain's monarchy. Behind closed doors after the ceremony, senior aides revealed Leonor had asked to have a brief moment alone with her new husband before the formal procession. What they shared in private remains unknown, but when they re-emerged, both looked visibly moved. Christian's usually reserved demeanor had softened. Leonor, though composed, had clearly been crying, not from stress, but from the weight of the moment, the history, and the sheer magnitude of what their union represented. International guests from Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, and beyond were struck by how different this wedding felt. Less rigid, more heartfelt. Queen Margrethe of Denmark reportedly said afterward, "This was not just a royal wedding. It was a testament to love rising above protocol." Even the Archbishop, who officiated the ceremony, made a slight deviation from the traditional script, pausing to acknowledge the courage of young royals willing to lead with their hearts. Meanwhile, the internet exploded. Footage of Leonor's tearful smile after the vows went viral in under an hour. Royal watchers, journalists, and global citizens alike reacted with a mix of awe and emotion. The hashtag #Leonor after the vows trended globally within minutes. Some critics questioned whether such raw emotion belonged in a setting defined by centuries-old decorum. But most praised her openness, saying this single moment did more to connect the monarchy to the people than any speech could. Back inside the palace walls, the reception began in earnest. Family members gathered not just for official toasts, but for deeply personal ones. Princess Ingrid of Norway gave a warm speech, recounting how she and Leonor often shared stories of future responsibility, and of the fear that sometimes came with it. Prince Christian raised a toast not just to his wife, but to her strength. His words were simple: "Leonor, you have always carried more than your crown. Today, you shared your heart." Behind the scenes, the new couple reportedly broke one more protocol. They asked that the string quartet switch to a modern melody, a quiet acoustic version of "Can't Help Falling in Love." Leonor requested it without announcement. It played softly as they danced. For royal aides and historians, this wedding will be studied not just for its political symbolism but for its emotional breakthrough. It blurred the lines between formal royalty and everyday human love in a way few royal events have ever done. As the night wore on, images began to circulate showing Leonor and Christian stepping out onto a private balcony. It was just the two of them. No guards, no ceremony, no palace staff in sight. They waved gently to the stars, as if thanking the universe for giving them a moment that was both larger than life and deeply personal. For those in attendance, and the millions watching, what happened after the vows has become one of the most talked about royal moments in modern history. Not because of a scandal, but because of sincerity. In the end, Princess Leonor's unexpected tears didn't break the monarchy's image. They redefined it. And in doing so, she may have just ushered in a new era for royals across the globe, where love, vulnerability, and leadership walk hand in hand. The world watched two monarchies unite. But what will be remembered is the singular, human moment that followed the vows. A moment that, perhaps, spoke louder than the ceremony itself. Stay with us as we continue to follow this extraordinary royal chapter. This is not just a love story. It's a legacy in motion.